Hey everyone, I don't usually do interviews like this. I usually do a live sales coaching session, but my friend Extus Justin has his sales down, and he just has a really interesting story about how he came into being an entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur that is not only like fun to hear, but can you can learn something from it. Your journey as an entrepreneur might not be as crazy as his, but it's just a good example of how anything can happen, especially online. So he's going to tell us about how he scaled his coaching and consulting business from 0 to 80,000 a month in recurring revenue in 90 days and was able to pay off $300,000 worth of debt in 6 months. Can't wait to hear how he spent that money. And how he built 667,000 per month online in 3 years with his coaching and consulting business. So it's a pretty incredible story. Thank you so much for coming, Extus.
Hey, Aleasha, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to being here forever. And finally, you have me on here.
Well, I guess that, we should start at the beginning on a tiny island. You might have noticed that Exton has a lovely accent.
Do I have an accent? I don't have an accent, do I?
Oh, yeah, you
I did?
definitely have an accent. You didn't
No, I thought I got rid of it. I thought I packed it away.
No, but it's really nice sounding. It sounds like an island.
Oh, good, good. Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So for me, my journey, I guess, yeah, Aleasha, thanks so much for the awesome introduction. And I know what Aleasha pointed out is all my highlights and stuff like that. It's like the highlight reel when you watch the football or basketball game and stuff. It's all the highlights. But what most people miss are the journey, like what happened, what are the struggles, what did you go through, what didn't work, and that type of stuff. And really with this interview, that's really what I want to share, just as far as, although I've gotten to a place where I've created some success for myself, but I want to share my journey as far as the failures I've encountered, because I feel like that's where the real magic, that's where the real the story needs to start, right?
Mhm.
So in terms of me, my name is Extus Justin, as Aleasha said. I'm not sure if it's a good thing to introduce myself after you've done that.
Whatever.
But yes, whatever, right? But my name is Extus, and I'm from an island in the Caribbean called St. Lucia. And when I was 18 years old, I remember just being down there, and like life was just like kind of like at a standstill for me. And I just needed something different. I needed to do something a difference with my life. And that's when remembered tell my mom, younger brother, you know what, I think I'm gonna go to the US and just go see what life is like back there. And I remember, I think it was like a Friday or something when I packed 2 black suitcases. And I remember hugging my mom and my younger brother at the airport and getting into that plane and just flying off to the US to start a new life. And when I
The
got there,
American dream,
what was
right?
that?
The American dream.
Yes,
Everybody on
yes.
the island was like, America's so cool. Probably, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, like spoiler alert, it wasn't so cool, was it, Extus? What happened when you got
Hey. But so when I got there, when I got to the US, I realized like, man, I needed to do something. I didn't have any really college degrees or anything like that. So I needed to generate income. So what I did was I got a part-time job working in the produce section of a grocery store. So I'm back there stacking tomatoes, grapes, apples, pineapples, and all these different fruits. And I am absolutely hating every single second of it. It's like, what am I doing here? I'm back here stacking up all these tropical fruits. And this is stuff like back in St. Lucia, I like grew in my backyard. It's like, this is what I came up here for. Like, what is happening here, right?
not to mention it was Maryland. Like, why did you choose Maryland?
Because my dad also lived back there as well too.
Why
So
did you
that's one of the
choose
reasons
Maryland?
why.
What's going on in Maryland? It's
What's
totally
going on?
nothing like St. Lucia.
Nothing like it. It was like night and day, right? But I had family back there, which is kind of why I moved to that spot. Yeah. So so with the job, I'm like, okay, I'm back here stacking all these fruits and stuff. I'm like waking up like groundhogs, they doing the same thing over and over again. Like there has to be difference. And that's when I said I need like some type of transformation. So that's when I said, you know what, college is what I need. Like I got to go to college. So I get a college degree, like everything is gonna change.
Of course.
And I signed up for college, Prince George's Community College, and I did like one semester, and then while going to college, taking the classes and stuff, I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. I was just like showing up to the classes and stuff. I really wasn't sure. But I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I did one semester in college. And the reason why I did one semester was because I ran out of money working this part-time job in this produce section. I wasn't making very much money. So I'm like, I could only do one semester. So to kind of like, my plan was to say, okay, well, since I don't have any more money for the next semester, I'm going to get this part-time job, the second part-time job at the mall. And I remember when I applied for the job, I remember showing up at the interview. I was 30 minutes late for that second job interview. And the reason why I was 30 minutes late is because the bus broke down. Like literally the bus just broke down. So when I showed up to the interview, I remember showing up to the what's his name, the hiring manager, whoever that guy is, and it was a shoe store. I remember showing up, and when I explained to the guy what happened, like this guy literally looked me in the face, and he said, like people like you guys won't amount to shit in life. And
it's so mean.
It is.
It's so mean.
And I kind of laugh about it now, but for me, at the moment when I was in that situation, it was like one of the most. I was so angry. Like literally, this guy had this blue tie, like this blue goofy tie he was wearing. Like I literally wanted to grab him by that goofy tie and just drag him throughout the mall. That's literally how angry I was. And I realized after that, I just felt like so uncomfortable. Like I felt so out of place.
Well, the
like
worst day of your life. So do you
it
think
was.
you say that because you're like from an island? Like he's like people like you that are like from somewhere else? Is that how you felt?
I really didn't know. I have no idea. I just remember the feeling. It was just one of those feelings. It's like, what is happening here?
Out of place. So I didn't know if you were like, what country am I in? Like I'm not, or something. I don't know. But either way, it was the worst day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the worst day. Yeah, so I just decided, let me just get the hell out of there, man. And I started walking back to the bus station since I didn't have a car. At the time I was walking back to the bus station, just feeling like so much crap. It's like, where the hell do I go from here? And while I'm walking back to the bus station, my head is kind of down and stuff like that. And I'm walking, kind of looking at my shoes and stuff like, what the hell am I going to do? And then I look up and then I see this dude, man. This guy looked like something from like a Terminator movie, right? This guy was like this big, jacked dude. I think I told you the story. I call it like 6'14".
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not 7 foot. He's like 6'14". That's how tall he was. And I'm like, man, who the hell is this dude, man? This guy looked like this machine walking towards me. He had this white hat, like similar to what I have. Let's see, right there, that hat right there. White hat. It has this gold emblem at the front. He had this khaki shirt on. He had this blue trousers with a red stripe going down the side and some black shoes. I'm like, what the hell is this guy? Like, who's this guy? Like an actor or something? Like, what is happening here? But we're walking past and we're walking towards each other. And while our paths crossed, he looked over and he said, hey, young man, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, yeah, man, I don't want to get beat up, man. You like this? Yeah, whatever you want, in a sense, right? So we started talking. And this guy, like, he started asking my story. And at this point, I was like really feeling like crap, man. So I was like, man, yeah, finally someone is going to listen to me, right? So I'm like telling my story of living in the Caribbean to move to the States for a better life and stuff, having this shitty job as in the produce section, trying to go to college. And I don't have any more. I ran out of money, trying to get a second part-time job to afford it. And what happened with this guy or whatever. And when I'm back here telling the stuff and I'm like looking at the expression in his face, hoping that I could see like he's gonna give me that, like
empathy, yeah.
Yeah, none of that. Like literally every time I told him a sad story, I could see a smirk on his face just start getting bigger. And I could be like,
yeah,
until it was like almost like a full-on grin, right? It's like, what is happening here, right?
Mark.
And I didn't know at the time, but it turns out that guy was a recruiter for the U.S. Marines. And when I started telling him all the stuff, I was like, he just saw it as far as, hey, I am the perfect candidate to join the U.S. Marines. So he started telling me all the benefits. He's like, well, with college, you don't have to worry about college. You get your college paid for. You get to stay. You don't have to pay rent. You can't get fired and stuff. And you get to travel and do all of these different things. And I was the same way as well. To the same way when I was telling my sob story, he started smiling slowly and slowly. For me, I was the same way. I went from depressed to like every time he told me something, I was like,
this sounds perfect.
I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need. And next thing you know, I remember going to his office and stuff like that, signing paperwork, and he sent me the experience, all that type of stuff. He told me it was going to be tough and stuff like that, but he leaned more towards the benefits as far as the traveling, the this, the that, the this. I was like, yeah, man, sign me up. I could do this. And next thing you know, 3 months later, I wake up. I was on this. I remember being on this bus, like my head. They told all of us, right as soon as we got to get all of us, like put our heads down. Like, I guess they didn't want us to know where we were going or something, right? So
and
on
you're
this
on
bus,
the bus to Marine Camp, yeah.
yeah, put our heads down, and then the lights were off. And I remember because I couldn't sleep. It was like maybe either three, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. And when we show up, the bus just stopped. And I was like, and they said, don't put your head up or whatever. But for me, I was like more peeking. I was like, still like trying to say, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, the lights on the bus just cut on. And they were just like, get off the bus, get off the bus, get off. And this guy, man, and this like, he had this, we call it like a campaign cover, but this round hat just gets on the bus and starts screaming at the top of his lungs. He didn't really, like his voice, he didn't even sound like he had a voice. It was just like this raspy thing. And he just started screaming. What's that?
And then you were in hell.
Yes, 3 months of hell. And it was like, how did I sign up for this? Like, what am I doing here? And that's when it hit me like, man, like I was going to be here for 3 months. And the only way for me to really get out of it, or the only way for me to do this is to graduate as quickly as possible. But that's when I realized like, holy crap. And it was one of the toughest things I did in my life, but it was definitely a fun experience. And that was kind of like the first leg of my journey as far as realizing that, okay, I'm here. I finally get into a place where I kind of fit in because my goal was to initially do 20 years in the U.S. Marines. At first it sucked, but once I got into it, I was like, man, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? And that's like a first part of my journey. Yeah.
Right. But then your body was like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. So after the 8, right. So the place where I realized I couldn't really do it anymore was, I remember it was about maybe my first enlistment, the first 4 years, kind of towards the end of it, right before we shipped off to go to Iraq. So what happened was we were on this like 15K hike. So it was, we had to walk around. I remember Camp Kinzer over an island called Okinawa, Japan. And at the 7.5 mile mark, I kind of felt my knee kind of pop. So I was wearing my flak jacket, my M4 weapon, my Kevlar, and like a 70-pound pack on my back, kind of simulating being out there in the hot sun and stuff like that. And my knee kind of popped, and I was like, man, like what happened? But I got through the whole thing. But from then on, my knee was just never the same again. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. It got to the point where, because we used to do like physical training, like it was it like 5 days a week. So every day we'd have to be downstairs at like 4 o'clock in the morning having to do that physical training. And literally just to get through, I used to have to take like 2 800 milligram Motrin ibuprofen tablets just to kind of numb the pain.
Yeah, destroy your liver at the same time as you destroyed your knee.
Yeah. And I realized, because I could get through the pain and stuff like that, but I just realized that it just wasn't good, because the first like 20 minutes of the workouts and stuff, it would be really intense pain, but after that it'd just be numb. And I'd be like, I don't feel anything. But I kind of always knew that, man, you're screwing up your body doing this, because I mean, this is not natural.
Well, and so Extus isn't a quitter. So he was gonna do the 20 years, but at a point, your body was just like, not gonna go down.
Yeah, so when I got to my second enlistment, the second 4 years, about the 7.5 year mark in my enlistment, I realized like, man, like you still got about maybe 12 more years to go to do this, and you're only at 7 years and your body feels like this. Like, does it make sense to continue, or does it make sense to do something different? And that's when for myself I realized, you know what, it probably makes sense to do something different, because again, I could have done a 20, but I realized that my body would have probably been broken by the time I got out. So I just said, okay, let me do something different. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to get out and do something else. I'm going to take a different path, right?
I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah. So that's the first part. So the next part is, okay, now what do I do for money? And that's kind of where my story kind of starts aligning with an entrepreneur, which is someone who has maybe a job or something. They're like, okay, I have this secure thing that's kind of paying the bills and whatever, but now it's time to get out and do something different. And for me, I realized that, okay, I don't have any college degree. I don't have any certifications to my name, nothing. And I'm like, you know what? I want to build a business. I want to be this entrepreneur, because I was following all these different mentors, people I'm seeing making money online and doing all these cool things. I was like, that's what I want to do. So I said, okay, I have $30,000 of savings in my bank account. I'm going to get out of the U.S. Marines, move to California, because California are where all the entrepreneurs, all the successful people, everyone is at. I'm going to move down
Hollywood.
there. Yeah, I'm going to move down there and I'm going to start my business there. And I really wasn't sure what type of business I wanted to start. But I said, I got $30,000. That's enough to figure it out. So I got out there.
California.
I got out there, got a really nice apartment, got a nice car with $30,000 worth in the bank, and trying to figure out, like, what do I do as a business? Do I do real estate? Do I do like e-commerce? Do I do network marketing? Do I do affiliate marketing? Like, what do I do? And I'm back there trying to figure all of these things out. And while I'm going through the process of figuring it out, I'm running out of money. Because again, as you said, Aleasha, being in California with $30,000, especially on the nice end of California, you go broke pretty fast if you don't have any income coming in.
Like Ohio or something. It would have lasted years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember like literally like 3 months into being in California, I had spent like 22,000 of the $30,000 I had. And that only left me for about $8,000 in my bank account. And I realized, like, this isn't going to work. Like, I got to figure something else out. And I should have thought about just moving to California where it was cheaper, but I said, no, I'm going to stay in California. I'm just going to move to maybe the not so nice part of town where stuff is a little bit cheaper. So I ended up like getting rid of my nice apartment, getting rid of my car, and downgrade my lifestyle to, I remember moving into a 570 square foot apartment, living on an air mattress I bought, or sleeping on an air mattress I bought from Walmart. And I got like a desk from a yard sale. Like there's this one desk with like a glass top. And with my car, I got a 1997 Toyota Camry, the biggest piece of crap ever. Whenever I got to like 60 miles per hour with the Camry, like literally I'd be on the freeway and it used to just start shaking like this. And it was one of those things. It was like, man, like cars used to just be flying past me, right? But that's how I kind of downgraded, just because I was like, man, I'm gonna just do the bare minimum to kind of or spend the least amount of money to make this work. And when I downgraded, what happened was I still ran out of money. Like I just couldn't figure out this business is getting paid, this making money thing. I really couldn't figure it out. I was buying the courses, trainings. I didn't really know what to really do. I was figuring stuff out, but again,
everybody can relate to this.
Yeah, just not making any money. Yeah, and that's when I realized, like, holy crap, man! Like you're running out of time and you're running out of money, because I'm back in California. I don't have any family, no friends. I was living with my ex-girlfriend at the time, who she was from a different country, but she was like kind of here on like it was a college visa, whatever that thing is. And I kind of started to like feel a little bit of fear, because I'm like, I'm not making any money, and I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm running out of money. So to kind of turn things around, to kind of help my situation, the next thing I said, I was like, okay, what can I do for money? I don't have any family or friends. And I said, oh, I have retirement savings, because I knew when I was in the US, I knew this would come in handy. Like I had saved like $70,000 while I was in the US Marines. And I'm like, perfect. I'm not supposed to touch this money until I'm like 59 and a half or whatever, but I need it now. So I said, I'm going to take this and use this to kind of fund my dream of building my business. So I took out the money, and it took about 2 weeks for me to, from the time I filled out the paperwork, to get the retirement savings deposited into my bank account. And when it hit my bank account, I only saw like, it was only like $55,000. I'm like, 55,000, like what happened? So I remember emailing them and like, why did I only see 55,000? And they were like, well, the reason why we only saw 55,000 is because you took it out early. You weren't supposed to take it out. That's a part of the agreement.
Penalty tax.
Yeah, 15 grand, man, like right off that. So I was like, man, IRS, man, maybe I should join the IRS or something. These guys always get paid, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So I had about the 55,000. I'm like, okay, that's going to be enough. I'm going to use this to kind of get my business off the ground and make this thing work. That's exactly what I needed. That gave me a breathing room. Yeah.
How many months did it last?
I think that it probably lasts about maybe 5 months at most. Yeah, because I'm back here, because again, as an entrepreneur, and I think everyone can relate, like when you're trying to do something, most of the times you have no idea what you're doing. Like you have this dream, but the path, like what steps you need to take to get you to that dream, there's all of these different options. And if you're not sure, if you don't have the experiences, the only way you can learn is basically by trial and error. like literally. So what I was doing, I was buying these programs, hiring different people and all these different things, at the same time paying my rent and trying to do all these things, and nothing I tried wasn't working. I was making some money, don't get me wrong, I didn't make any money. I made some money, but money was just going out faster than it was coming in. And I realized I gotta tweak, I gotta do something different. And it got to a point where, again, the $55,000 I had, it went out the window, it was gone.
Yeah.
And again, here I am, second time. It's like, God, what happened there? Like, I'm broke.
$100,000
Yeah.
gone.
And for me at the time, because I had this credit card, I never really used a credit card because I've always paid my bills on time and that type of stuff. I've never had to use credit cards, but I had this one that I never used. And I said to myself, man, I don't have any money, but I feel like I'm this close to making this business thing work. Maybe I should just start using a credit card. And I remember starting to use a credit card, and at first my plan was to only use it just to buy just my bare essentials, food and stuff, to go shopping and these different things. But then I started buying more programs, paying the rent and these different types of things. And next you know, again, the credit card, I woke up a couple of months later, and that credit card, I remember it was almost maxed out as well too, 30 grand. That was the limit on the card.
So we're
And
at 130 now.
yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember being in my 570 square foot apartment back in California with one chair in there with an air mattress with ramen noodles filled in my drawers, because that's really what I survived on. Like, what the hell is happening with my life, man? Because I'm starting to feel a little bit of fear because, again, I'm down there just on my own, no family. Family is like hundreds of miles away. And if any emergency came up, I would be like hosed. I'd be screwed because there's just no buffer room.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, okay, it got to a point where I remember I think I had like 1,700 and, oh no, 1,500, like $92 left in my bank account. Literally after spending all of that money. And I'm like, God, man, like I'm going to fail. Like this isn't going to work. There's something, I got to do something. And I really started feeling fear because that was all the money I had left. And for myself to try to figure out what I was going to do, I said, like, okay, it was around tax season. So what I did was I said, okay, if I go to the tax and do my taxes, when I took out my retirement savings, they taxed me like 15 grand. So if I go do my taxes, I'll probably get some of that money back. And I remember going to the tax guy's office. And when I got to his office, I did the paperwork and he did his stuff. And then he came back and he gave me this piece of paper. And when I looked at the paper, like it said $5,000 on there, and I felt relief. I felt like, oh, whoa, feels good, because for me, I'm doing the math because I'm like, okay, I'm going to get $5,000 back. I'm thinking, okay, I have like $1,500 in my bank account. So I'm adding up like that's $1,600 there. And it's like, okay, I could figure something out. Not 600, but 6,000, whatever. That I could figure something out here. That gives me enough time to figure out what I'm going to do next. And while I'm looking at the paper, when I look up at the guy, he just stood there a little bit too long. And I was like, well, what's up? How do I get the money back? And he was like, money, like you're not getting any money back. You owe money. And I'm like, no, this is
additional taxes on the money that you got. They took out the penalty. I know, it's the worst.
Yeah, this is the worst, man. And that's why I said to myself, when he told me like I owed $5,000, which is money I had no idea how I was going to pay, my first thought was like, I just got to get the hell out of this guy's office, man. I got to get out of here. And I didn't really know what to do. So when I just went to my phone, opened up, and I typed a few numbers in there, and I hit like whatever, and I just closed my phone. And at the time, my goal was just to get out of there. So when I looked, I leaned over I was there with my girlfriend, and I said, hey, when my phone goes off, like we have to leave. And she's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, just trust me, we gotta leave. So my phone goes off, and really when it went off, really what I did was set my alarm for 3 minutes. And as soon as the alarm rang, I picked it up and I just pretended like I was answering it. And I said, I grabbed my girlfriend by the hand and walked out. I told the guy, hey, I'll be back. Let me go straighten something else. I'll be right back. And as soon as I left the guy's office, I just left, and I just drove, and I never looked back. So that's a kind of like, on that drive back, I just felt like so shitty. Because it's like, there's no way life could get any crappier, man. And when I was driving back, I knew that I got to, like, that drive, while there, I had to, like, really figure out, like, what the hell are you going to do? Like, and that's when I made the decision when I got back to my apartment. That's when I decided to leave California. So I paid, I had the $1,500 in my bank account. I used the last 1,000 to pay my rent, which was like $925 at the time. I paid that. And then I used the last $500 to buy a plane ticket back home. And I literally lived in my friend's basement.
Yeah, home was Ohio, right? Or where
Was
was it?
that Indiana?
Indiana, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, living in my friend's basement. And it got to a point where it was like things just got so bad because I'm like, here I am, I'm in all of this debt. I feel like literally I had a horse riding on my shoulders. That's really how I felt because here I am. I lost $30,000 in my savings, $70,000 in retirement savings, and another $30,000 in credit card savings. $130,000 just gone off the badness. And when I kind of factored everything in, I realized like, holy crap! And I was like literally in about $300,000 worth of debt when everything was factored in, taxes, late payments, all these different things. And that's when I realized like, man, like my life is like, I'm screwed. Like I had no idea what I was going to do. And it was all from chasing this dream of wanting to be this entrepreneur, building a business and those different types of things. And that was literally when I hit the lowest of the low. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you found finally the mentor and that helped you a lot. But I don't want to position it like, oh, then he found this guy and it made everything okay. Like he was building skills up to this point that made it all click when you found this last course.
Yeah. So the way my situation kind of turned around, because I was just like, I had like bill collectors calling my phone. Like I used to ignore my phone. I wouldn't even answer it because I knew that it's probably someone I owed money that's calling me right now. It's a bill collector, IRS, whoever. So I kind of didn't answer my phone. And I remember when things because I did a lot of stuff. I tried a lot of things that didn't work, but I also built a lot of skills. But I remember the place where it kind of turned around for me. I remember being on my computer. I was just like scrolling online, and I kind of ran across this ad. I clicked on the ad and stuff like that, and I kind of saw this free training. The person was hosting and stuff, so I showed up for the free training. I registered, and then on the day of the training, I showed up and I just sat through because I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? I was just watching the thing, not really wanting to buy anything, but I just showed up for the training. And then when I kind of went through the training, I was like, I just felt like, man, this is it. Because what the guy, what my mentor in a sense was sharing was like, it was a little bit different from most of the stuff I learned. And for me, because most of my decisions I've made, I think I'm more of like a logical person. I made a lot of decisions logically. But when I felt that, because for me, I'm like, man, I'm not going to buy any more, nothing. I'm not going to buy any programs, nothing again. But when I saw his approach, I just felt like, man, this is the missing piece for me. This is it. And literally, I realized like that was my opportunity, because when at the end he's like, okay, here's your chance to work with me if you really want to figure this out. And I just knew that I just had to take that risk. I had to take a chance. But I also knew that I didn't have any more money because I had like the credit card. It was maxed out, or at least I thought it was. So what I did was I said, okay, well, I'm going to still try. When the guy made the offer, I said, okay, I'm going to try to get this program. And I pulled out my credit card and I typed in my details, and ultimately it didn't go through. The card got declined. I'm like, God, man, like here's my chance to try one last thing, and the card didn't go through. And again, I don't have anyone to ask the money. And what I did though, but there was a payment plan where it could split up into several monthly payments. And I said, okay, let me just try this. I wasn't really expecting it to work, but I was like, whatever. So I just typed it in and I clicked the payment plan, and next thing you know, boom, the thing went through. Like I literally got access to that mentor. I saw it. I got a chance to work with him. And that's when I said to myself, like, there was still a little bit of fear because I'm like, you just bought another damn program, man. Like you tried all this stuff and you really haven't got any results.
Yeah.
Was that?
What are the chances this one will be the one?
Yeah, but again, when you hit rock bottom, the way I've best heard it says is when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And I realized I was in so much debt and stuff. I had to do something big, either go big or go home. And I remember what I did for myself, because I was like, man, I've been here before. But what I did for myself, I said, you know what, I'm going to give myself 7 days to kind of make this thing work. Because I knew if I couldn't make it work in 7 days, it was just like, hey, go get a job and just go pay your dues, man. Go do something else. So I gave myself 7 days, and within 7 days of just taking hardcore, massive action on what I was learning, within 7 days, I grew to $10,000 in recurring revenue per month within the first 7 days. And the model, the business model, because most people, that's the first question. Like, what did you do? What was the model? And what the model was, it was basically doing digital marketing for local businesses. So what I did, actually, I literally went out there. I did everything. Like I don't think I slept much for those next like 3 weeks to a month. I had very little sleep, but I was out there doing every single thing in my power. I had this calendar I kept as far as, because my whole goal was to go out and find businesses where I could help them get clients, and then they would pay me on retainer. So I had a calendar where I would do several, like I spent my entire day doing several different things. So I had the first portion of my day was cold calling. I literally would just cold call local businesses to get business. The next thing I would do is I would walk around. I had a bicycle. I used to ride the bicycle, go to local businesses like the mall areas and those different places, just to kind of tell people like, hey, here's what I could do for you. And at the time I was like so desperate. Like I came off with confidence, man. And that's what I tell my clients as well too, because once your back is against the wall, like you will make things happen. Things most people feel like is impossible. Like you're gonna make it happen just based on that drive of wanting to figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. So within 7 days, I was up to $10,000 in recurring revenue. And within 14 days, I scaled that to $20,000 in recurring revenue. And I just kept at the whole process. I just kept at it. And within 3 months, I was up to $80,000 per month in recurring revenue. So that's kind of how I kind of turned everything around. And I know with what I shared here, again, it seems like, man, like it happened so quickly. But I know that there's a lot of stuff that happened before. All the failures, all the things I tried, all the skills I developed over the time, that's what really got me to where when I did find the right situation, when I did find the right, the one piece I needed, that's how everything kind of took off for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
does. So, I mean, it's not like a get rich quick story. It's like, if you're feeling really defeated and down, I think that a good takeaway from this is that you're learning the entire time that you're feeling like this. You're learning things that are making you a stronger person. There's a quote that I really like that's like, you either got the lesson you needed or the result you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is really a failure. So I think, just to look at whatever you're going through as making you a stronger person, and you will come out on top if you persist.
Yeah. I love that. And for me, because I find myself in a situation, I feel like the best, someone who's listening to this right now, I don't know what your situation is, but for me, my whole thing is like, you can't give up, man. You cannot. Because I know for me, and that's really how, just following that process, that's really how within 6 months I was able to pay off my $300,000 worth of a debt. But I knew that if I had gone out, got a job and whatever other type of method, it would have taken me, I probably would have still been in debt right now, trying to pay that off.
Oh, you would have been dead for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But now it's cool because he has built Extus, you built this coaching business, and you've created this membership program that's giving entrepreneurs everything they need to scale to 6 or 7 figures. Which one?
I like to see 6 and 7 figures, so just a path. So getting to 6 figures and scaling to 7 figures.
And it's really unique because I've never seen anybody do this. Like, of course, you've seen courses and that, you get in the back end and there's materials and whatnot. But you have coaches for every kind of angle of the business that somebody needs help with. Because I think a lot of people, they get a business coach and they're like, oh, no, now I need a mindset coach. Oh, no, now I need a sales coach. And you're offering weekly Q&A calls with every coach that they need as a part of a $97 a month membership.
Yeah, lovely. And the reason I smile is because this is what I'm really excited about. Because I remember on my journey, I think, Aleasha, we were talking about it a couple of days ago when, because and I guess for me, with my business, I've always been in the high ticket realm. I mean, that the cheapest I've ever sold a program for has been $6,000. Like I've done like literally over like 3,000 phone calls, and whenever I get on a call, if someone can't make the $6,000 investment, we just say, well, come back when you do have the money, and we just turn them away. And I realized I turned so many people away, but I also realized I could feel like some of them, they had that drive, they had they really wanted to figure the thing out, and I knew that I was in a sense doing them a disservice by turning them away, because I know that we have the best trainers in the world. to help someone get up to 6 and 7 figures. And by just because someone can't afford it doesn't mean that they can't get the resources, they can't get the tools that they need. And I know for me in my own journey, I don't know about you, Aleasha, but I know I had to spend a lot of money, just like you were saying, on all of these different types of mentors, whether it's a mindset coach, the sales coach, the funnel building coach, the Facebook ad coach, and all of these different people. And it was like you would never get the full thing. Every time you think you get one problem solved, this other one came about. And this is why the membership, it's really exciting to me today, because my vision is to have that be the place, have that be the resource that someone could come in, whether they're a beginner, whether they're advanced, come in and get everything they would need to get up to 6 and 7 figure levels, and have the mentors, not just the, hey, go watch the program or whatever, but actually have real life coaching from actual mentors who are successful themselves, just like with yourself, Aleasha. I know you're one of our expert coaches out there.
I'm a sales coach every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday. Yeah, and the clients absolutely love her because, again, the wisdom, the stuff she shares for everyone is like they get so much value, and it's not one of those, hey, go read a book or whatever. It's actual real life coaching. So that's really why I'm so passionate about the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of a community like a membership like this yet. I think it's the first of its kind that I've heard of. So it's a really insane cost also. It's $97 a month. And we're going to put the link, click to go to the link to take a look at the membership, because it's a really incredible deal. I mean, you could essentially probably get almost a lot of what you need in 1 month, but I mean, hopefully you'll continue on because you can ask the coaches at every phase of your business. You can just get on a call. I love it because I get to talk to somebody one week, and then the next week I get to ask about how things went after they implemented what we talked about.
Yeah.
Basic coaching, but it's still fun to hear them progress. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now it's 97, and I've had so many clients. Everyone is like, because we're growing pretty fast as well. So because everyone is like, man, you gotta, when I talk to the clients, they're like just referring their friends, referring everyone they know, because they were like, man, even one of the clients, who was it? I can't remember her name. That's bad. But the only reason I can't really remember is because, again, we're growing. We're having so many more clients come in as well too. But one of the things she said, she's like, I've gotten so much within 3 weeks of being a part of this program that I've got working with my business coach for the past year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, we were definitely onto something, because our vision for this is the things people will charge you thousands and thousands of dollars for. We want this to be the resource where you come and you can compare what we've got to all of these other programs you have or you've bought, and be like, man, this program, this $97 per month I've been paying, is one of the absolute best, most profitable decisions I've ever made in my business. And that's really our vision, our philosophy for it.
And it's a do-it-yourself thing. Like, for people that are like, how would you make it that cheap? I mean, we're not doing anything for you. So you need to be somewhat driven, ideally, to get the most out of it. But if you are, then it's incredible.
Yeah. We have coaching, and right now we have we do coaching calls 3 days. I know myself, I'm there 2 days a week. I'm there on Tuesdays and on Fridays, and then I know Aleasha, she's there on Wednesdays, and we have a mindset coach who's there on Saturdays. And I'm definitely going to be including more people in the mix as well too, because the whole goal is to just have that be the resource where you come in there and you're just a part of a family, and you feel like you never want to leave. That's really what we want to build here. But yeah, it's pretty exciting, Aleasha.
I know. I'm really excited about it. So thank you so much for your incredible story. And everybody, if you would like to soak up what he's learned over this dramatic I guess it's only been 3 years, then definitely join that membership. And I'd love to see you there and do free coaching sessions with you. So, all right. I guess that's it. Thank you so much, Extus.
That was my little salute there. Yes, Thank you so much, Aleasha, for having me. It was a pleasure, and looking forward to connecting again soon.
Okay. Take care.
Yep. Bye.